Well, right now, at least 9 of the 19 defendants in the election interference probe have now turned themselves in to the Fulton County Jail.
Our crews have been around the city today chasing one of the biggest key players arriving in Atlanta today. And within the last 15 minutes, we got our first look at the mugshot for former Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani. His booking process taking only about 10 minutes. His bond was set at $150,000.
And we have live team coverage over the next 90 minutes for you, covering every single aspect of this case. And we'll begin with Bobeth Yates, who is live right now for us. Bobeth, you've been all over, from the airport to the courthouse, and now you are outside of the Fulton County Jail.
Yes, I've been on Rudy Giuliani watch all day. He landed at the Peachtree DeKalb Airport, private airport, got picked up directly in an SUV that took him straight from the airport around 11 a.m. this morning to a local attorney's office, and then just a few minutes ago, bonding out of jail here at the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. Take a listen to what he had to say.
I'm being prosecuted for defending an American citizen who I do as a lawyer, and 5 other lawyers are indicted. That should tell you right away that this is an assault on our Constitution.
11 Alive cameras were rolling as Rudy Giuliani addressed reporters after being booked and released from the Fulton County Jail. Hours earlier, his attorneys made their way out of the Fulton County District Attorney's office after negotiating the terms at which Giuliani would turn himself in.
Confirmed that a bond agreement was reached at $150,000. Mr. Giuliani is presently in the process of surrendering. We expect that the process will move efficiently and that it will all be done within a short while.
Giuliani was recently indicted on 13 counts. The charges include violating Georgia's RICO Act, soliciting of the violation of oath of office, making false statements, and conspiracy to impersonate a public officer. As for Giuliani, he was clear on where he stood on the charges.
Specifically says, I do not in any way admit the truth of those allegations. Those allegations are totally false.
Now, Giuliani also told us that he spoke to the president earlier today, or former president earlier today, and he said that they had a lot of good conversations and they're feeling good about this case being dismissed on their behalf. Now, coming up at 6, I have more on what he had to say about District Attorney Fani Willis. Sending it back to you guys in the studio.
A great hustle out there, Bobeth. Thank you so much for that update. Now, several defendants in the indictment turning themselves into the Fulton County Jail today, including Georgia's one-time state Senate President pro tem. David Schaefer was also one of the alternative Republican electors designated to replace Georgia's Democrats in the 2020 Electoral College vote. So to speak more about this, we are going to go to our Doug Richards live, also at the Fulton County Jail, with more on what he's seen today. Hey, Doug.
Yes, sir. With the exception of Rudy Giuliani, the story here was mostly about defendants staying out of view and some of them checking into the jail in the wee hours of the morning. There was a succession of cars admitted past the guard line and into the Fulton County Jail parking lot. When one of them exited, a co-defendant in the case, Ray Smith, rolled down a window and appeared to thank the sheriff's deputy stationed at the front. He did not talk to reporters. In the indictment, Smith is accused of lying to a Senate committee about what he described as illegal voting in the 2020 election and encouraging Republican electors to replace Democrats in Georgia's Electoral College panel. Overnight, Kathy Latham also turned herself in. She's seen in surveillance video allowing Trump operatives into the election office in South Georgia's Coffee County. She was also one of the Republican replacement electors and is accused of tampering with Coffee County's voting system. Kenneth John Cheesebro surrendered to authorities. He's accused of helping strategize the disruption of Congress on January 6, 2021. And former Senate President pro tem David Schaefer turned himself in, tweeting his own mugshot. Schaefer is accused of spearheading the replacement elector scheme while chairman of the state Republican Party.
Can I see what your flag says?
Sure. As midday approached, visitors from Tennessee and Indiana unveiled pro-Trump flags in the parking lot across from the jail, foreshadowing a larger expected presence Thursday.
Does that say coronate Trump as King of the United States?
It does.
How serious is that?
Well, you know, it can't be done, so it's mostly satire, but I wish.
Because I'm a Fani Willis fan.
Around the same time, a woman showed off her homemade headgear celebrating Fulton County's district attorney.
They indicted and she's treating them as any other person in the criminal justice system right now, and I like that.
And as those folks stood by sort of in the wings, a couple of other defendants showed up. Jenna Ellis, who's accused of solicitation of violation of oath, as well as a fairly big name in the firmament of this whole alleged conspiracy, Sidney Powell, a Trump attorney accused of conspiracy to commit election fraud. Live at the Fulton County Court, at the Fulton County Jail, Doug Richards, 11 Alive News.
All right, Doug, thank you so much. And while some have turned themselves in, other defendants are still working to reach bond agreements ahead of Friday's deadline. 11 Alive's Molly Oak is live outside the Fulton County Courthouse. And Molly, some people, most defendants have reached agreements. We are only waiting on just a few more here.
Yeah, and our reporter who's been inside the courthouse all day just let me know they are closing up shop for the day. So far, 15 of the 19 defendants have reached agreements and been granted bonds, including the second and third highest bonds we've seen thus far. It's day 3 of attorneys showing up at the Fulton County Courthouse. The first consent orders were reached on Monday. That's when former President Donald Trump received the highest bond of a defendant at $200,000. This afternoon, his former lawyer, Rudy Giuliani's bond was announced at $150,000, the second highest. Coming in third, Sidney Powell. She received a $100,000 bond today. The lawyer is an ally of the former president. Prosecutors say Powell was part of the group that met in November of 2020 to look at options to influence the election results in Georgia. Another lawsuit says Powell was involved in getting a computer forensics team to go to Coffee County and copy data from the election equipment in January 2021. Today, the bond was also set for now former Coffee County Elections Director Misty Hampton. Prosecutors say Hampton was in the elections office in January when a group copied software and data from county elections equipment. She's also accused of allowing 2 other men who actively questioned the election results access to the office for hours. Now, it hasn't just been attorneys that we've seen around the courthouse. We've also seen protesters today awaiting for the expected arrival of the former president tomorrow in Atlanta. Of course, we'll keep you updated on all that on 11alive.com. Reporting live, Molly Oak, 11 Alive News.
Molly, thank you. So to come in the next half hour, we are discussing the implications of defendants violating their bond conditions and the impact of Mr. Trump's missing tonight's first GOP presidential debate. Meanwhile, for the very latest on the indictment, including the investigation timeline and when defendants are turning themselves in, just text the word RICO to that phone number you see there on your screen. It's 404-885-7600. We will send you a link with several stories directly to your phone.